Hello, hello,
Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
hello.
Good evening and good
Um,
evening. Welcome to your Thursday night edition of Fuck Your Feelings, the show. I am your host, Mr. Robbie Three Times. I'm Rob on this show. This is my partner, Toshiba.
we sound
And,
like a gay couple.
huh? Why did
this
you
is
say
my
that?
this
Jesus,
is
that's
my
a terrible way
partner.
to start.
That is my partner Toshiba. It's like anyways, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, I'm like, God, that's an awful way to start the show.
It's
Don't
like
throw shade at me like that. Like, geez. Okay. Anyhow, welcome. Thursday, like you said, fuck your feelings. She obviously doesn't care about mine tonight. And
what? That's untrue.
and we are live on Instagram and on YouTube every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern Time. Um, Pleasure to be here, as of course. For those of you that don't know, the show is called, once again, Fuck Your Feelings, the show. And the purpose of the show is changing the conversation surrounding or around Black relationships.
And around relationships as a whole, but we clearly add the Black relationships because we cannot speak about any other perspective but our own, and we are a
That's
Black couple. But I think a lot of the things that we say relates to the relationship as a whole, but clearly our journey as a Black couple means that we want to change
yeah.
our community before we touch anybody else's community.
There's some things that are. I think every community has their own unique experience, and it's things that we like
Mm-hmm.
to say culture and heritage and tradition, and we as a Black community, let's to call a spade, is our history in this country is a bit troubling, and that's kind of the overarching purpose of that is we personally believe that without great communication, these issues aren't going to be resolved. Um, and we're just trying to be the change we want to see, basically.
That is
We
exactly
talk
what it
about
is,
our
man.
personal business rather freely. Like we like to say, we're private, we're not secretive. That's not really the way either one of us moves and
Facts.
individually. So as a couple, it's pretty easy to be about that. We try to talk pretty candidly and openly about some of the things that we go through, ups and downs. Honestly, mostly ups because that's the nature of the relationship.
We've been winning.
Yeah, we've been trying to do our thing, man. Happy early birthday to she.
Woo!
Her birthday is on Saturday. Um, we'll be taking a little day trip, having a nice
Well, it's
little
not just a day trip; it's an overnight trip. So it's
overnight trip. Yes,
2 days,
nice
one
little
night.
overnight trip. We're gonna shoot out of town for a second and celebrate her birthday and get
Sheba
back
Day.
and get ready for the
Sheba
holidays.
Day.
And
Oh, we're
which,
not worried about the holidays. We're talking about Sheba Day. How do we
yeah,
just
yeah, I'm just
switch from
saying when we
Sheba
get
Day to the
back and
holidays?
yeah, Sheba Day. Okay, and we're gonna celebrate it and have a good time. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of our weekend plans. I think me and my daughter going to a football game tomorrow night, and that's about it. And we never talk about our weekend stuff too much, but
No, we
we'll add a
shouldn't.
segment of like what we plan to do this
Because
weekend.
we are boring
We've been
old
talking
people.
about some things, and we want to incorporate some ideas and segments into the show. What we did last weekend? Wakanda Forever. For those of you that are unfamiliar or have not had a chance, I won't get into spoilers or nothing like that. But Black Panther was very,
It's
very
amazing.
good. It was just as good as the first one. The tone was different. I was telling one of my coworkers, like the first 10 minutes or so of it felt like a funeral, man. And I didn't think, and I don't say that in a negative way. I think they paid a tremendous amount of respect to Chadwick Boseman. And I
I think
think
it
he
felt like
was
more like a tribute. I wouldn't
deserving
have
of it.
called it a funeral. For me, it felt like a tribute to
Yeah, yeah,
him
yeah.
in the
But it was
form
also the
of,
death
yeah,
of
yeah,
the character,
yeah,
which kind of symbolized a whole lot.
yeah.
Now, on the flip of that, I saw a TikTok video which was basically Killmonger's PR person, and that was hilarious. I wish I could find it. I would play it real quick. Like it was literally like she made some good arguments.
Of what Killmonger should what?
No, Killmonger, why was what he was doing all that bad? You know, like
Oh, no.
it was hilarious.
If you watch the first
Oh, yeah, I watched the-
Black
well, I hope you
Panther,
watched the first
we
one.
hope you have. Like, I was a fan of what Killmonger was about and what he was trying to do. But that was
Yeah,
just
he had
me.
some compelling
Whatever.
arguments. That's the whole point of her TikTok was she was kind of talking about like was what he trying to do that bad actually, or
It
how
was
would
not.
you feel? Because no, that's what it was. The basis of it was, like who was she talking about? Like the Scarlet Witch, in her loss, she had the whole show, she tore the whole town up, all of that. You know what I mean? But he grew up in similar circumstances. He saw his dad die, and it was just hilarious. Like, but again, if you've seen the first movie, regardless of the politics of it, again, you can't argue that Killmonger was an incredibly compelling villain. And shout outs to Michael B. Jordan for his portrayal of the character. Excellent.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
But they totally just jumped off of the rails there. But getting back to the show, FYF, again, if you haven't seen it, Wakanda Forever, go check it out. It's a bit long, but it's very worth it. And Namor kills it, man. Like it was a
great movie.
They came back with
yeah, it was a great movie.
He had some compelling arguments.
We were there like the first afternoon. We went to the matinee.
Yeah,
I made him get me this super expensive.
Yes, this expensive collector's edition popcorn tin that I had. It didn't even come with popcorn, which was the interesting thing. I was like, oh, you got me here. But,
like $30 later.
Shout outs to Marvel. It was a great effort. And Saturday we just did some mingling around, moving around the town, I think, and some walking.
We did brunch.
Oh yeah, we did brunch. Yeah.
We did brunch.
Oh yeah, for those in the Phoenix area, we hopped in Sugar Jam. They're always packed. Please make a reservation.
Please. Life is better when you make a
Life
reservation.
is gonna be so much better if you make a reservation. But their food is slap, and the scene is definitely dope. And shout out to Sugar Jam. You can hashtag them in the video too.
Yeah.
We do really enjoy when we get a chance to go sit down there and eat. And back to the content of the show tonight, we're talking about
can you sit at my table?
Yeah.
So I am basically tired of the conversation about what you bring to the table. Every dating show, every situation, it's always what you bring to the table. What do you bring to the table? Instead, I figured we should ask, can you sit at my table?
Well, what do you bring to the table morphed into I am the table. And
exactly. And I make the table and I bring the whole table. Yeah. And the reality is, can you sit at my table?
Yeah. So when she pitched that to me again, it was kind of her conversation. I think next week is kind of the topic that I want to get into, which would be, because it's Thanksgiving. We are going to do a Thanksgiving show next week. And I think we're going to do in-laws
versus outlaws. Yes.
And how to deal with your peoples around the holidays,
just in life.
Just in life sometimes.
I actually like that. I have to remember that. In-laws versus outlaws will be next week's topic since it's Thanksgiving. And many of you are going to be with people in your family you don't actually quite like, but you got to give thanks for them anyways. Good luck to y'all.
Yep. Every family's got them. Shout outs to the fam, both sides. Every family's got them. But tonight we're talking about, can you sit at my table? And I thought that was an interesting way to kind of flip the conversation a little bit, because that's really what the conversation should be about in the first place. Is if you were sitting down having a nice meal by yourself, would you be okay with this person sitting down and joining you? I think that's kind of the way I was looking at it initially, is because if it was, some stinky, dirty, sneezy, COVIDy individual, I don't think you'd want them sitting down.
Even if they're not, so you always want to go to, even if they're not stinky, whatever, do they bring value to what it is that you got going on? And that's what it is. When someone sits, like, I've been places by myself and a stranger comes and introduces themselves and wants to sit beside me at the bar, whatever it might be. And there's some people that you're like, great. And there's some people, it's like within a couple of minutes, you're like, you know what, I'm good. Like, I'll move. Like, I'm just going to remove myself because now I'm in this situation where this person is here. Conversation isn't good. Like, I just don't care. Something about them annoys me. Like, I will just remove, the phone call, whatever the situation is, right? And so that's really the idea of when there's so many people asking, what do you bring to the table? The reality is they overvalue themselves, men and women, right? Because I think this is a question that actually now comes from men and women. Now, more women say phrases like, I am the table, right? And I can bring the meal and make the table and all that ridiculousness, but they never ask the question, can I sit at that person's table? So it's the person saying, can you sit at my table? And then me asking, can I actually take a seat at your table and hold your attention and bring value to the conversation? And you've walked away feeling better to have met me than not.
I'd agree with that. That's kind of the ideal of any interaction. You know, as an attractive female, you definitely get strangers approaching you a bit more than I get a fair amount of strangers approaching me, but it's always about the same thing.
How tall are you?
It's
he loves it so much.
Because it truly isn't. I'd rather have that problem than other problems. But like sometimes I just got to be straight real with it because I'm on a mission or I'm doing something or it's time sensitive.
You're never really rude when we're together because I just end up engaging people.
Engage people a bit more better than
more well that English, eh?
Yeah,
much better.
People a bit better than I do from the perspective of like the average. Like y'all, I mean, again, like y'all have seen these street interviews, and the average person ain't got much going on, man. So running up on me wanting to talk about something silly is, you know me. That's not. But
usually people don't want to talk about something silly. They just want to talk to you about like your height in basketball and what you do and just be in your presence. Again, you forget like you're a rare commodity. Remember last week I looked up the fact that there are only 2,800 7-footers. Right? So you're 6'9", and there's 14% of men in the United States that were over 6 feet. You are in the higher range. So you, for a lot of people, are still like, oh my God, I do it and I live with you. There are days I look at you and I'm just like mesmerized by you.
Man, basically, but sometimes it does be a little extra and it's overwhelming to me.
That's why you got me.
Yeah.
Because I'm never overwhelmed.
Yep.
But back to the topic again.
That's one thing I do fast too, especially as the older I get, it's a little bit of extra crabbiness creeps.
Yes, you're an old 46-year-old black man now. Like, we're not young anymore. Like, I'm about to be 43 on Saturday. We're not the young folks anymore. Like, I got a whole adult daughter. Like,
valuable every birthday, man. Facts.
I feel you. Okay, moving on.
Yep.
What are some questions that women should ask themselves if they're being realistic and intentional about being able to sit at that man's table that they want? Right? What are some things?
Are you asking me that?
Yes, babe, you are a man. So they see a man, and let's say you are that man. I mean, with us, we had so much conversation back and forth. Mm-hmm. Like the beginning, we still talk now. Like our conversation with 2 years in, and we're constantly talking, guys. Like we talk in bed, we talk in the car, we have walks. Now I've convinced them to go on Saturday and Sunday walks with me, and we'll go to Starbucks and McDonald's or whatever, and we'll walk. We can drive, but why? And so he walks with me, and we have these amazing conversations. We converse in bed. Like we're constantly having a discussion. Mm-hmm. But so many people don't do that, right? Like we have more discussions now than we did when we were met because we know each other so much more. Mm-hmm. And so the initial part of it, though, is when you want to be with that person, and instead of, again, asking about, what do you bring to the table, if I were to ask myself what it would take to sit at your table, what would it be? Like, what are the things that I should be looking at?
That's the funniest thing because I think that question overall is missed by so many women. And the reason that I say that is, in my opinion, in my observations of, because like I say, I study social media,
Mhm.
so like you know that I really I interact sometimes. We're trying to take this somewhere, and I think too often women approach even interaction with a man as what's in it for me.
Yeah.
You have no shot at a long-term relationship with a man with that attitude. Because again, you're basically setting the conditions for him to just temporarily satisfy you.
Oh, keep talking.
Because that's all he's gonna do. I'm gonna give you what's in it for you, for me, but what's in it for you. I'm gonna provide what's in it for you as long as that leads me up to getting what I want. At that and then I have the conversation of you only have leverage over a man until you sleep with him.
And then
Once
after
you
that,
sleep with him,
you've lost all your leverage.
Once he's added to that count. And again, that's why honestly the whole body count conversation to me is stupid, to be perfectly honest with you. Like that's a new concept, but we didn't grow up in hookup culture either.
We did not.
So that became a part
We did not.
of it.
That's
like,
so true.
Body count nobody was like, oh, my body count. Like,
well, we're in high school.
When I was in high school.
Early 20s.
But everybody wasn't fucking everybody either.
That's facts.
And I'm talking about even the playerist of players was not knocking down chicks like
and access was so different 25 years ago, right? Like the access to have to get on the bus and to not have social media, and there is no Ubers to just jump in, and you know what I'm saying? Flights were more expensive back then. You got to call, exactly, and her dad could pick up, or her mom, or whomever.
You don't know who gonna pick up. You hoping it ain't a dad. That lowers your percentage of getting some
facts. And so all of this stuff that needs to be done, now people are sliding into DMs, and you're right, hookup culture has become a thing. And you also have the free to be me, and women can do what they want. My body, my choice. And the bar was up here, and now the bar is in hell.
Your body, your choice, until you start looking around, you're like, damn, I done slept with all these men.
And ain't none of them chosen me.
Ain't none of them committed to me. Yeah, my body, my choice. Like that shit totally benefits men. I think it's stupid. Like women saying like I smashed him. It's like it never works that way. You might be thinking that. You might be telling yourself that.
But I have a hole you enter, so how could I have smashed you? Like a man, I have a hole, you enter my hole. I can't have smashed you, because the idea of thinking when something's actually smashed, a hammer takes something and it smashes it. We don't have that thing to pound. Like, it sounds terrible. Like, let's be crass for a second, but that's the reality. If you take a hammer smashes something, right? It's an ability to pound something. My pum pum doesn't pound. My pum pum takes the pounding. So how can I smash you?
Yeah, it's the lock and key.
No, make no sense.
All of that stuff. Like, again, it doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, the Jamaican in me,
but
I'm just like,
on the real of it, it's just 100 bodies doesn't take the toll on me that 100 bodies is gonna take.
Yeah, because I got pounded.
You feel me? Like our PTSD ain't the same after all that sleeping around. That's the point. I might be traumatized, but in a much more manageable way than you are.
That's true. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you.
Because you're wearing all of those men on you still.
I don't disagree.
Because no woman sleeps with a man that she doesn't want to keep her. Y'all capping with that.
That's part of our superpower.
One night stand him. Like,
no,
you attracted enough to him to sleep with him. You wanted him to keep you. But the fact that you just gave, like, what was it I was saying about the other week, aunties? Like, women giving their body away but stingy with their money. That is dumb as shit right there.
Yeah, won't buy a man a gift, but we'll sleep with him on the first night.
Some buns. We make our own money. Keep thinking that getting rich is going to get you a better man.
Moving on. As I said to you, ask the question again. What should a woman be thinking about, or questions she should be asking herself in terms of, can she sit at that man's table, the man that she wants?
Well, getting back, that's kind of how I was able to get sidebarred and all that, but you can't go into it talking about what he gonna do for you. it just does not work that way. You go through the interview, you apply for the job, you interview for the job before you get the job.
Correct.
It seems like a lot of women want to get the job and then they want to apply and interview for it. No.
Because again, that exchange that you have while you're dating or getting to know each other, or whatever the different phases are, that is an interview stage.
Even a person dating with intention. On our first date, why should I be looking at you like I want to be in a relationship with you? I don't know you.
Correct.
Why should I be wanting to invest in you on first date? I don't know you.
It's the opportunity to get to know me.
And I noticed that the women, in my opinion, and in my experience, that be the most aggressive about what you need to do for them up front, be the ones that know ain't nothing behind them doors.
Oh, no. I understand.
Like, what was that game show where they raise the curtain? It ain't nothing. It's a camel back there.
Robert.
Wah, 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 and they play that music.
So they try to get you to commit way like up front so that you don't uncover all the layers and realize it was empty and hollow.
Oh shit, what the hell have I done? And I think most guys can relate to that a little bit. You look good than a mug on the outside.
So really, are we being realistic with ourselves when we're coming to people in our form? Again, if the reality is you see somebody and you set up for somebody that you want, some people are shooting too high. Could that be it? And so they can't ask themselves that question.
Because they don't have, here's the other side of that. I want to really advocate for men being at least more honest, if not 100%. Just truthful with women, but be more honest. Stop telling them stuff just to be telling them stuff to try to finesse the situation. You can be like, oh, that's being a player, or that's macking, or that's having game, or whatever. But
I don't think lying to a woman is having game. I think game is being truthful to a woman and letting her
choose. Yeah, that's game.
Yeah.
That's being a player, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And when you like, yo, I got women. And I'm trying to sort it out and see which one I'm gonna select.
That to me totally different than a whole bunch of lies.
It's just you. It's only me. And then she gets in your Instagram and it's going crazy in there. Like that's because then you again you're off, you're bored, your interest is gone, you're done, but you're really just leaving that damage for the next man that's interested in that woman to deal with.
Correct.
And ultimately, this gonna sound super crazy, but women's behavior is predicated on men's behavior, because like you said, like the girl, she was like, yo, I would lose weight if dudes would stop bending me over. Like,
oh yeah, we saw this comedy special and this girl was talking about she's a heavy set woman, she's a comedian, and she was saying, yeah, I want to lose weight, but I'm not really motivated to lose weight because men are still bending me over. They still find me attractive. They may not stay, but I'm still getting some. Right. If I wasn't getting none, then maybe I'd be motivated because I want to attract men, and men are still attractive.
And this might get me in trouble with the man convention, but women can't handle the truth because men have never made them.
You've definitely said that before, and I agree. I told you in one of my last relationships before you, my ex was told that he couldn't love me because he was too truthful and he was too upfront about everything. And I thought, well, that's why we were in a relationship, because that's important to me. That is what he was like, they're like, you can't love, you tell her this, you tell her that. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like he'd be out texting me about a girl he saw that he was like, yo, babe, like here's a picture, want to like talk to her, let's go. And they'd be like, why are you even telling her that? Like, just go do your thing, do it behind her back. And he was like, why? I don't need to do that. Like, they're like, you're too truthful. And I was like, well, that's the problem, because you guys go around cheating. He didn't need to cheat. He was very upfront about, hey, my eye is on this chick. You're not out with me. What say ye?
I mean, different dudes have different philosophies about it. Most men tend to go to lie and cheat and route. And I swear again, I'm sitting at the man convention disappointed, like, because I'm like, it don't have to be like this. But it has to be like that for certain dudes. And like, it is a lot of guys that really do want to have their cake and eat it too. It's like, you might get me into trouble again. And again, I wasn't always the man that I am today. I'm not sitting up here trying to flex on nobody or nothing like that.
I wasn't the woman I was 15 years I was
But really,
28.
man, like all that cheating and running around and multiple women, that really is for a man that can provide for multiple women.
I mean, there's that. I mean, you're not wrong. This is why it's
And
crazy.
by multiple women, I really mean like one or like two, man, like maybe Johnny Depp can have three or something like that. But when you start like it be dudes running around like, I got like 6 bras in my rotation. You cannot satisfy 6 different women, man. You can't even not even remotely close. All you do is got 6 women learning to hate men fucking with you.
Oh no.
Well, they probably already knew how to do it. You just help them. Because again, going back to day one, it wasn't pleasant back in middle school, like 8th, 9th, 10th grade, them first boyfriend, girlfriend type relationships. Every girl is submissive to her first boyfriend. I've said that before, I'll say it again. Every girl is submissive to her first boyfriend.
I'd give you that.
Do anything that dude say to do.
I'll give you that. I will definitely give you that.
But then he broke your heart, and niggas been paying for it ever since then.
There's that.
So, back to the topic, to sit down at my table, and I think a man who's really just serious about what he's trying to do with his life, you have to show how you're going to fit into his life.
Well, you are the men that women want to sit at the table. Again, we've talked about it. I mean, Uncle Kevin Samuels, Kendra G, the Manosphere, all of those things are happening. And there is this idea. I mean, people have always known it. That's why athletes and entertainers and so forth, but especially athletes like basketball players, right? Like that's why you guys have always been valued, right? Like I've dated a professional athlete or two in my life, and I've seen how groupies literally follow them around. It is the most fascinating thing, like to go to the bathroom and hear from the bathroom that I just went to that there's a woman who's coming up to the guy that I'm dating who's waiting for me to come. Like it is watching women follow us from clubs. It is a fascinating thing being in that world. So the reality is, here you are, fast forward years later, established in a different way. You are the man women want to be seated beside. There are many women who want to sit right here beside you doing this show, but I'm here for a reason.
And here's the funny thing, like when you start talking about that guy, like we've talked about it before. Your proclivities mean that we are open to her having having a girlfriend, therefore it being a 3-way relationship.
Correct.
I have little to no desire to be out there pursuing, recruiting, chasing after women myself.
He has no desire.
For myself, like
he does not.
That clearly is, if you are not here for her, I won't even deal with you.
Yeah, he doesn't have that. And I'm not even sitting here acting like whatever. He's still a man with the penis and desires, but honestly, he's not gonna be. That's one thing I have to say I don't worry about. Like I don't worry about the idea. I mean, we're together 99.9% of the time in the things that we do. But when we're not together, I don't have a concern. I don't have inner angst like, he's just gonna be out there in these streets, because I'm like, he's not even interested in talking to people.
And I think she gives me the wiggle room. Again, she very rarely comes at me about how I interact with other females. Like very rarely. She might make a comment at worst, and the comment is usually enough to be like, she might not like that or have her feelings about that or whatever. But I think we've got to a point, at least in my opinion, where she also understands exactly what I just said. Like I'm not out there. Like, look, if I'm having a conversation with a woman, it's with the intention of introducing her to you. Well, it has nothing to do like, we're going to meet for coffee without you. Like that's.
Well, Princess Shirley love her comment. She says, laugh out loud to Sheba, gotta love it. You are the reason. Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. That you have no desire to be out there just talking to random women. I'm just saying.
Nah, man, it's just a headache, man.
I realize I brought my watch upstairs and you put it on. I agree.
And I just know how I feel like I don't have enough time to do the things that I want to do all the time, as my life is as it is. You know what I'm saying? So what I look like trying to give up more time to be like, oh, I got to take Amber out, or I got to do something for Amber, or I got to sneak in some buns.
And it's so funny.
That's I don't have that type of.
Pause on that for a second. And what you said is so interesting because it is so directly opposed to what people think about the men in your situation, the 666, right? The idea, and I've heard this before, the idea is that, hey, these men are actually out here trying to chop down multiple women all the time. They're not trying to settle down. Funny enough, watching Kendra G the other day, and she was talking about if she was a man in her same situation, she probably wouldn't settle down. So some of these women who come on her show thinking that these 666 men are going to settle down with them, like, you better find an average guy, because most of these men don't want to settle down, which is actually, there's been the opposite of my experience. Any of the high value men I've encountered, whether it's business wise or personal life, have all been settled. They're married or are looking to be in a relationship. Like, any of the high value men who have pursued me in a way that they want to settle. They are interviewing me to see, does she fit the bill for what I want in my life? It wasn't a smash and dash. It was, they get to a certain point, like, this is what I love about you. You always say, babe, I need supervision. Like, I need you in my life to be able to do the things that I need to do. Because if I have to be out there trying to do my career and then smash this and that, it's just not going to work. So it's so interesting that this idea for women is that these men are not going to settle. They do want to settle, but can you sit at their table?
And again, because most dudes they run through their whole days like that's a human thing, male or female. I don't even think that's gender specific. We all want a home. We all want stability. We all want something to call our own. That's across countries, across seas, across gender lines, racial lines, age. Like, we all crave the same shit basically. So yeah, and I think, like, again, it's like the candy store analogy. The later a guy got in the candy store, the more it's going to seem like he's cutting up. You 44 years old acting like that. That nigga just got some money last year.
he's just getting them.
So yeah, he's knocking everything 20-something down.
That's true.
He just got his paper.
That's true.
You know? And I think the longer you've been in the candy store, the more your teeth rot.
Yeah. That's why I'm glad that your life was front loaded. And I got you at a great time in life. Because again, us in our 20s, oh no, I would be repulsed by you. I love you so much. But I would be repulsed by you. But it's so interesting. And I want people to really think about, when I'm talking about that, I'm not talking about a metaphorical table either. I'm actually talking about an actual table as well. Think about, like to talk when they eat. But also think about the events that I have to go to represent you at work. Yeah, I've already been to 2.
Yeah, and you've done well at both.
Thank you. When I go into
compliments about this woman, they are very aware of your presence in my life. Most of the people I interact at work with on a daily basis, and these are not like low level engagements. These are people that have taking care of their business.
The owner of his bank had a meal at our home that I cooked. Like, this is.
Well, he doesn't own
the bank, but he started the bank. Okay. He started the branch you're in. Why do you ask? Cool. Thank you. He started the bank. Okay. Okay. So to put that out there, like, he was there. He had to literally sit at your table. And so when we think about the people that
represent dining room table,
we're gonna need a dining room table. But he was physically sitting at our table. So when we talk about, can you sit at my table? It's one of those things that you have to think. If this person were to bring you around and engage in a professional setting, can you sit at that table and hold your weight?
And here's the thing, on top of that, using that as the analogy or as the situation, one of the things that man asked her was, what's the first word that comes to your mind when you think about him? And fellas, especially fellas with a woman, think about, what do you think would be the first thing that, first off, what would be the first thing you would want her to say, and then think, does that align with what you would actually say?
That's so funny. I've never known what you wanted me to say. I just said what I said.
I think I get credit for a lot of different things, and the thing I've most frequently gotten complimented on for people that know me intimately is my intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said the first thing is he's smart, his intelligence, I could listen to this man talk for however long. I appreciate that. And I have heard that often enough and in mixed enough company that I understand, like I like to say, I might not know nothing about nuclear physics, but I can sit down with a nuclear physicist and figure out if he's full of shit or not.
I like that comment when you say that. That is actually pretty funny.
Yeah. So that proverbial sitting down at that table means, again, can you represent me? And when a guy is really trying to, and this is another thing, since we're going to be all over the place a little bit on this.
Okay, I'm ready for you.
We got to stop thinking as Black people that success and excellence is like
a white people thing,
or acting like Black. No, it's just fucking excellence.
Thank you.
It's just a standard. It doesn't have
a standard
doesn't need
up here.
A color adjective next to it. And I think Black people really need to get back to that. And I think, again, I think about how much time and talent I have wasted by not living according to that standard. And I'm still a work in progress. I probably will be till the day I die. But with that being said, I challenge myself daily, believe it.
I'm proud of you for doing that.
Again, like physically, I got a long, long way to go. But intellectually, she knows I watch sci-fi documentaries, actual NASA videos. I watch most of the news I digest is in a format of either like some type of intelligent comedy or like, and even when I'm studying social media, I don't just sit there and scroll through TikTok. I watch reaction videos and stuff like that. That's how I see half of the stuff that I wind up seeing, but when I consume media, I'm intentional with it.
No, you consume media very differently, and I appreciate that about you because it's brought me into certain things where I wouldn't naturally sit down and watch those things, but with you, I'm just like, and then I'm like, oh, and then we have a conversation and we can converse about it and share our different viewpoints.
Yep, like again, John Oliver last week he had an episode on the monarchy, and I mean it smacked me. I was like, yo, I think you have something to do, but the last like 10 minutes of it was like, I did not know that. And therefore, yeah, man, like it's a big world. So getting back to the point of sitting at the table is how do you represent me? And if you're not a person, in my opinion, who is aiming for excellence or aiming for at least great shit, like if you just good is good, like just I'm good, like.
And that's why this
I can't really rock with that.
And that's why this idea of everybody wanting to sit at the table with the same man, not understanding what it is that man wants at that table.
They want to sit down at a table with a man who's going to get up and leave.
Oh no!
After a few minutes, like I'm not doing this.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! 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 Oh no! Sorry.
Just saying, it doesn't matter just sitting next down, like sitting at the table with him. Then you gotta stay there.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so if I was not occupying the seat that I am right now, what would it take for a woman to occupy the seat that I'm in?
I don't think the seat would be available.
Babe, can you just play along?
Right now.
Just so y'all heard it here first. Ain't nobody taking my seat. I'm just saying. But
like you came at a unique time, and honestly, like I ain't the biggest fan of women these days. Like
Robert,
I don't
say that. He's not.
As a mean way, but y'all, man, like
he means like dating and for the pursuit, and he's just not into that.
Not just the y'all.
Now women as a whole.
Team
oh no.
Serious assistance, man, because. Again, you can go on social media and hear women saying some crazy
stuff. We do. And I have to say we because I'm a woman, right? Like I don't get to exclude myself despite the fact that, pardon me, who just had dinner. I wouldn't have said those things, but as women, I agree with you. We have to hold each other accountable, and this is why these conversations are important. Because again, I've never heard the question posed the way that I posed it to you, which is why we're having this. When we were talking about it, I was like, I'm so sick and tired of the what do you bring to the table? And I'm like, we should really have a show about, can you sit at my table? And he kind of just went, oh, babe, like that's a unique way to put it. And so again, we always, because we converse so much, we have these unique discussions that we want to bring to all of you because it makes you think.
And we like to think around here.
And we want you all to think.
Right.
We want you to really think that table of that man that you want to be seated on nightly, because you want to be having dinner with this person, engaging with this person. Can you sit at his table? So I'm going to go back to the question. I know you say it wouldn't be occupied, but just play along with me, please, babe. If I were not seated
I got you.
in this seat, what would it take for a woman to be seated beside you?
Obsession.
If you guys have not heard it, Rob is I'm completely obsessed with Rob. Like everything about him, the way he breathes, the way he smiles, even him throwing his dirty drawers on the ground. Right there, yes, picking it by like everything, his intelligence, just like the way we laugh. Like I am enamored. I lick his face. He hates it. But I am just obsessed with him. There are times you see me on the show and I just touch him randomly. Like I am obsessed with him. But does all men want obsession?
I think so.
Or the idea that their woman is enamored with them?
I remember even kind of trying to communicate that. I'm just used to a certain level of vibe from females.
Mm-hmm.
And with that is usually once she starts dealing with me, she's not really wanting. Like I said, I've only been in 4 relationships, and I honestly don't think I've ever been cheated on. Like I don't, like that's never been something that I really worried about because, in my own opinion, I always felt like that was dumb. Like if you want to cheat on me, like that's because I understood intersexual dynamics young. My mom was always in my wig about certain things, as was my dad too. You know what I mean? So again, I always understood the birds and the bees better than a lot of the other kids. So sometimes, like me falling back on certain shit was because I understood better. It's like, yo, you can fuck around and have a kid, and that's what happens. Like and so I've always been kind of a bit choosier about who I was dealing with, who I would lay down with, because of understanding how I viewed myself and how I moved. Like that's a two-way street. Anytime I take a woman to bed, she also can run around the town
and say you took her to bed.
I took her to bed. You know what I'm saying? So I looked at it a little bit differently, like because I was an athlete, I was projected to do this, that, and the third. So and that's
your name just couldn't be associated with just anybody.
And that's the thing. Like that's why I don't understand why women deal with men they don't really respect or that they think are less than them, because it never works out. Like you keep
because they can't get the men they want.
You chose him, you bagged him
because they can't get the men they want.
Right.
And that's was women, we need to recognize that you have decided that you're attracting these type of men and giving them time. Listen, I attract all kinds of different men, all kinds. Who I give my time to is very different. I give Danny, like our daughter hates going to the store with me. At one point she came up, she's like, Daddy, enough. She was like, you just need to go with mommy to the store, because she turned around for a second. She's like, all these men are trying to talk to mommy. I can't deal with it. It's enough. Again, it's who I give my attention to. So a lot of these women say, I'm attracted. Well, you're also giving them your attention, because you cannot actually attract the man that you want.
Yep, and that's why we get beat into a lot of dumb stuff as men growing up, especially if there isn't a present everyday father in the life. because that's the one that you kind of see a different dynamic when you see that. You're going to get different feedback. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about the energy of like a man with broad shoulders and, you know, a more traditional man, excuse me. Women, y'all been running at supersonic speeds, you know what I mean? And on a certain level, I can appreciate it. Again, for me, I want my daughter to have all the opportunities that there are. To me, it's about choice. But I would never, ever, ever recommend my daughter fight a boy because he's gonna beat her ass.
How did we get here?
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm just talking about. So it's certain that how do we get here is that if you're a modern woman, it's really difficult to expect a traditional man. If you're expecting him to accommodate some of your changes,
that's not
you
going to
have
happen.
to be willing to accommodate some of his.
And that's what's required to sit at the table.
And that's what's required to sit at the table. You know, so for me personally,
yeah.
Obsession.
Okay.
But as in general,
yes,
I think is you have to thinking not only what is in it for me, but what can I do for this man? And the reason that what can I do for this man is so important is because for the right dude, that's pretty much mostly what you're going to be thinking about. You're not going to be thinking about yourself like that because that's how it's supposed to be. Submission is willful cooperation.
Yeah, I'm constantly thinking about you.
That helps, doesn't it?
It does.
Sometimes it might get on your nerves, but that's how like, and that's why a lot of, you know, the conversation goes about like, oh, this man ain't this and this man. It's like
he wasn't it for you.
He wasn't it for you, and you sat down at the wrong table with the wrong person, or you didn't have what it took for him to stay, or for
let's go with that. Like, let's be realistic. Man. You didn't have what it takes to continue to sit at that table. I have had situations where I didn't have what it takes to continue to sit at that table. We've all had it. So let's not play this because I'm tired of the toxic narrative. Every man was toxic. Well, it takes two toxic people to stay because you know what? Healthy people don't end up.
Man.
Thank you. They don't stay in toxic relationships. The moment the toxicity comes their way, they go, ooh.
Even if not the moment, there's a reasonable duration of you dealing with bullshit before you just stop or you like the bullshit. But there's too many men and women out here that like chaos.
Yes, they thrive in chaos.
Hey, that's like I said, if you're a passionate lover, like you should be with somebody else passionate. You're very hot, but you're not that. You're not chaotic. No, you have OCD.
I do.
You very much like things to be where you expect them to be.
Yes, sir.
And that's why we get along so well. You organize my life for me.
I do.
I like my life organized. I just don't like doing it.
I do that. And I get benefits from that.
Babe, remind me, and that is my personal Rolodex right there, my little calendar. And I got a phone right here. I don't even be using Siri for nothing. If I miss an appointment, it's her fault. That's how I look at it.
I'll take that. So, Obsession. Yeah. Anything else for you that would take someone taking my seat?
Oh, taking your seat?
Which I think is very impossible, but I mean, women can try.
I just... No, I mean, well, you can pull up a seat, you know. Pull up a chair. But, no, you ain't gonna take that.
That was a good one. Give me a pound for that one. That was a good one.
But no, it's like I said, I don't think I got the wherewithal to go through all of this again.
But think about a man in your situation. So again, you represent the man that women want
to lock that aspect of his life down. You know, he wants a Michelle to his Barack. I would say that's a good paradigm right there. Michelle was more successful than Barack was until he got into politics. And then they roles started going the other way because again, our maturation, our scale is further down the line. Again, 45 to 55. Um, women's life almost by definition is front loaded. You know what I mean? The kids, all that power is in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a danger or a risk when you get with someone, whether you get with them early or late, that the relationship could run its course. But you don't, I think you can't have a successful relationship with a go bag. You know what I mean?
Always have your bags
always
packed.
Having like a contingency, always having looking for a way out, always looking for, what if this doesn't work out? Like that means you're not ready for what you want. Or it isn't the right person, because if you are dealing with a person, then they just make you feel like, if it goes sideways, it goes sideways, and I'll just deal with it at that point. Like I said, men don't assess the losses of relationships until after they end. And then, like I said, we break out the balance sheet and be like, oh shit.
This is what this cost me.
Because as long as the relationship is continuing, we feel like it's worth it. Even bad ones sometimes. That's why the men have the saying, cheaper to keep her.
Oh yeah, that was my daddy's statement. Rest in peace, Daddy.
But when the relationship ends, that's when we assess the damage. Y'all be assessing the damage
while you're in the relationship.
Daily.
Yeah. And that's problematic. So let's say for men who want to sit at a woman's table who can be the Michelle to the Barack, I would say I look for ambition. Ambition is so important. Drive, determination, perseverance, grit. They call it grit. As the Black people, we call it hustle. But if you read the Angela Duckworth book, it is called grit. I'm looking for someone who I just know can lead. He doesn't need to tell me he can lead. He just has a presence about him that just shows you he's a leader in terms of the way people even relate to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are all of those things. You don't need to, like, a man.
If you have to say you're a leader, you're probably not.
You're probably not. And if you have to ask if you can lead someone, you definitely cannot. Right? There is a presence about a man that you just know that this man is a leader. You look at the way he interacts. Like, ladies, when you are seated at that table with that man that you want because he's asked you to dinner and you're in your interview process, look at the way he speaks to the waiter, the bar staff, when the manager comes over, when you first got into the restaurant with the hostess. Just look at his entire presence about that man. You can tell if that man, the way he orders, all of those things are telling you a lot about the man. You are not just there to have fun at that table. You are there to figure out if, again, this is a place you want to permanently sit. And if you want to permanently sit there, then what is it, again, that you can do to, like, keep that seat? Because it is always, like, I recognize that as much as Rob just said, like, y'all really ain't taking my place, I work every day to ensure that. I didn't just come in and be like, yep, this is my seat. I'm going to stay here and I'm good. I done did what I need to do. It's an everyday thing. Every day. Constantly.
And she's actually in better shape than when we met.
I am in better shape.
I'll give her that. She's noticeably like midsection and stuff. I'm like, damn, okay.
Yeah, he came in, I was changing up, and he's like, damn, baby, like, started holding me. But it's because I recognize, I did increase my workout. Yesterday, I got in like almost 26,000 steps. I do like a 4-mile, 5-mile walk, run, and then I still come to the gym and work out and do an incline and lift weights. What?
No stress.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
No stress.
I don't really have a lot of stress.
It helps.
I meditate in the morning.
I wear the stress in this relationship, and I don't say that facetiously, but I'm saying that that's you. If you want that, you got to do that. I mean, if you want this, you got to do that. If you want 50-50, then be willing to go 50-50. But you can't say, like, you can't pick and choose chivalry, for instance.
You can't.
You can't pick and choose when he's going to be a gentleman. He's only going to be a gentleman when it benefits you.
And then,
if it benefits him, then...
And then you can't be at his table telling him what you need to do to stay at his table. He's like, bye.
You want him to open your door, but you won't make his plate. You feel me?
Oh, that's not even a thing. I don't even understand what that's about. I don't. Ladies, I don't.
The whole plate thing is really, to me, it's about
really
deference.
Weird to me.
If you defer to your dude.
I make everybody's plate.
I love going to like other ethnic households because that's not even a
that's
thing.
Not even a question.
It's not even a thing.
I make everybody, but I make everybody's plate.
It's just what it is.
It's what happens. I make my plate last. Everybody else's plate.
When we have a guest over, my daughter helps her. What do you want to drink? You want this, that?
Yes, because I have groomed her that's part of the role.
What is wrong with that?
I don't understand. Like, to be of service is a good thing. That's the thing we've gotten it, to be of service.
The video I sent you the other day, Shorty talking about, him and my father-in-law sent me this text talking about. Now, mind you, this man and his father are building a home for his family.
Yeah.
A nice one.
Building a lovely home.
A nice one.
Lovely home.
He sent her a lovely worded text as far as, look, we're right at the end. It's a little bit of a mess over there. Can you please go over and clean up, put this there, put that there, put that. As a man, I know there's no way, and this is the dad.
Yeah, the
asking
dad.
her to do that. So this is my dad asking me to do something.
There's no way.
While he's helping me build us a house.
Absolutely. Mr. Stevenson, yes.
There's a reason they asked her to do that. That she was probably not aware of. So here she goes on TikTok showing, and it was some work. They expect me. I worked all day and I'm not gonna do it. Okay. So she says she basically bitched him out about it, told him she didn't think it was fair. She didn't clean up. So she did a follow-up video, showed the next day the place was exactly how they requested it was going to be looking. And I knew when I saw that place was spotless, I was like, she got problems. And she was like, yeah, see, I bet they won't ask me to do it again. No. You know, I win.
Next video. She's at a crappy looking motel because her husband told her to leave because they're getting a divorce. In very quick succession. In very quick succession. Like it wasn't months later. It was within days.
No, I knew they was in trouble. Because like I said, his father stepped to that man like, son, you know you got a problem on your hands, right? You can build a house and she can't clean it.
That part.
Talk about she cleaning up after us. Maybe your mindset is jacked up.
Instead of for us. Like is all of
helping.
Us. For us, because she's part of the us. It's the home she's gonna live in.
You know, like I like to tease her. Here's in and out. I like to tease her. When we moved into this place, she did not lift a lick of furniture.
I did not know.
But as we were bringing the furniture in, she was putting things up she did not just.
I didn't just sit and direct
to the Holiday Inn.
By the time he came in, his clothes had been put away, stuff had been folded. I was organizing. That's just kind of my thing. But I wasn't lifting furniture. It's just not what I do. But again, when I'm single, I could do that all day long. I'm in a relationship. I'm not doing that.
Built the whole damn house, and you were too good to clean it.
But again, here's the thing. Women say they want partnership, but that was a partnership. That was a moment to be a partner. Mm-hmm. Full-fledged partnership. He doesn't require you to put in the plumbing. He doesn't require you to do any of that. He's simply saying to you, here is a part that we want you to play on this team. Every team, you have a role, right? You played the number 4 position, right? Power forward, for those who don't know numbers in basketball. You play the number 4 position. That is your role. There are 5 people. That means that there are 4 other roles to be played. You didn't decide that you were going to play the 1 and play the point guard. That wasn't your role. And you understood that if you played that role, it would be a detriment or whatever might happen to the other 4 people on that team.
Try this.
That's not your role.
What if the husband and the father-in-law were planning on having the whole house staged and throwing her a housewarming surprise
Anything.
party.
Exactly. It could have been
And they
anything.
needed her to clean up. That's what I'm saying. They asked her that for a reason, not like as a test to see if she would pass or fail. They might have had contractors coming through in the morning.
There's a bunch of things that were happening.
Many, and again, they've been building the damn house all day. Maybe after hour 12, they were like, "Yo,
It's
I ain't
exhausting.
got it in me to clean up. Hey, can you clean up after you get off, please?" Can you imagine that man's disappointed when she came home?
No, it was definitely
How
different.
dare you?
Yeah,
ask me to clean up
she said
after
she
you?
gave him a piece of her mind, and I was
Oh
like,
my God, that man was sitting there like, "Yeah, I'm gonna call Sweet James. Sweet James is the one of the divorce lawyers
oh,
around here. He was like, I'm gonna get in touch with Sweet James."
right. But again, it's how much do you want something? How much do you want something? And that's the question we have to ask when we're getting into these relationships, or we want to be, because again, women want to be pursued. We actually do not want to be the pursuer.
Right. And I got a better one for you. How can you be on the same team and you score and the team don't score?
Well, everybody scores. It's a team sport.
But I think sometimes the way that females go about stuff is like when they hit day three, the points don't go up on the board.
But where's supposed to go?
I don't know, in their purse.
That don't make no sense.
You feel what I'm saying? Exactly.
I see, but that makes no sense. We are. Again,
how can you be like how could you be like trying to do wrong someone who is trying to build with you?
Well, here's the thing. Relationships are not an individual sport. It is a team sport.
Team sport. That's what I'm saying.
There's
how
two
can
of
you
you
be in a team event only worried about yourself?
Thank you. Here's the problem. The moment any sport, and we've both played sports, okay, any sport, when there's more than yourself, that means it becomes a team sport. Pairs in tennis, in badminton, there's so many sports. I ran relay, I ran track, I did all, like it became, when there's another person involved, it becomes a team sport, which means that you have to think outside of yourself. When I was running the 100-meter, it was very different than when I was running the 4x1.
Yep.
I had one leg of that race. That means I had to depend on 3 other people to get us the position that we were going to get at the end of that race. Relationships are a team sport.
And some people are just not good teammates.
And they're not good teammates. So why are you out there talking about, I want to be with this man? Like, you have your list of requirements, but and I get it, but you can't sit at the table of the person that you actually want. And even if you get a seat, you can't maintain the seat because it takes maintenance.
The biggest difference between team sports and individual sports is your ability to do your role is predicated on your teammates doing their role.
Yep.
I can't do what I do if you're not doing what you're doing.
Facts. Big facts. And that is a relationship. How can you go there and slay the dragons for me when you're hungry and you're tired and you're miserable? Because I created the hunger, the tiredness, and miserable by not playing my part.
I don't care how good the quarterback is. If the line says we're not blocking, it's over for him.
Good luck, sir.
It's going to be a long day for him.
And so that's the same thing. So you want a seat at this table. You feel like the table is abundant. That's the reality is. Nobody wants a seat at the table that is not abundant.
Right.
It is. So you know that seat for you is lucrative in some way. And it's not just financially. It could be in other ways, right? Finance is not the only thing that we should be looking at in relationships. It is one of the things, absolutely, but it's not the only thing. There are other things that you can look at. Again, Rob's life and our life 2 years ago wasn't what it is right now. And 2 years from now, it's not going to be what it is today, because we understood that being seated at each other's table, how far we could go together. So I love the fact that you say going into a relationship, it isn't just about what can the other person do for me. I very much went into this relationship of what I could do for you because I had already assessed what you could do for
And
me.
that's what I'm saying. That's a certain mindset. That's a certain mindset, though. You were like, how can I be how can I fill in with what's missing? I think that's the mindset a woman needs to have a successful relationship with a dude. If she thinks it's supposed to be the other way around, it's going to be doomed. Or you're going to have a man that you don't really want because he's not the type of man that most women really want. And the fact is, y'all don't know how to act if a man puts you on a pedestal. You don't. Let's be honest.
I won't say
it won't take long before you're putting your feet up on him. Like, kneel down, peasant, so I can put my feet up on
Not
you.
Peasant.
Like,
not peasant.
Y'all are much more comfortable chasing after a dude, like, baby, don't leave me.
Oh no, I'm not doing that.
Than having a man that you dominate. You're comfortable being dominated. You're not comfortable being dominant. Why don't I know some of y'all are, and
more power
to you, you know. But yeah,
but that's a miserable state to be, because it's an unnatural state. Women who tend to find themselves being the dominant in a relationship, if they were being honest with themselves, they would say, thank you.
They hate it.
Thank you. Because the type of men that will allow themselves to be dominant is not who you really want to be with. Correct.
Yeah.
And so we have to be the same way you have to have an honest conversation with your significant other, you have to have an honest conversation with yourself. And again, I've said this before and I will say it over and over. I'll be saying this, 5 years from now on this show. So many of us lie to ourselves. We are not honest with what it is that we want, what it is that we can give. Because I think if you have that honest conversation, a lot of relationships would not have been. There would have never been relationships. I can't actually yet bring to this what I actually want to bring or what the other person desires. And it's funny. I can tell you about in my life situation, I have found that more men have been realistic in that situation. I've had many men come back to me later in life and said, when I first met you, I knew that I could not be the type of men that would have been able to keep you. And so they went off and they did. I've had about 3 guys in my life who are like, I went on a date with you and I automatically knew I could not be the type of man that you want. So they went off, whether got educated, better jobs, whatever it is that they did. And then they came back to me later in life and tried to pursue me then. And it was interesting because I was just like, and they explained exactly that to me. I knew this wasn't going to be. And I didn't want to waste my time.
Well, you just gave up that vibe, but that's the problem. Like, you can't give up that vibe if you hooking up with niggas all the time. Just calling it what it is.
I wasn't just giving up the buns.
Call it what it is.
Because it was an interview. And again, I'm no innocent, but at the same time, there is a point in your life where you start going, okay, I know that I require more. And I also knew well enough, even though I spent a lot of years single, I knew I couldn't do it alone. I could only go as far as I could take me.
Mm-hmm.
And as with all of the different things, if I thought about my education level, if I thought about, like my experience, if I thought about all of these different things, I would say to myself, you know what? I can only take myself that far. And so I need someone else to go with me. And then the person who can go ahead.
You're only going to go as far as he takes you. And definitely understand that, because there's I saw an actual thread on TikTok about women who like marriage sucks. It was just another dependent. It was just another child. It was just another baby. I left him and I've been thriving. It's because that man was an anchor.
Mm.
No wonder you're doing better.
Mm.
He was, you said, you described him as a dependent. He needed money from you. He needed attention from you. He needed a place to live. He needed food and support and sustenance. And you gave him all of that. Whose fault is that really?
Yours. Like, why would that be a choice you make? Right? Because at the end of the day, yes, you can ask me to be with you. I still have a choice to say yes or no. You ask me to marry you. I still have a choice to say yes or no. Why is it that you Get with someone who not even just in the moment, in the present, but in the future, does not have what it takes to get you to that next level.
That's my question.
It's crazy to me.
I always say almost a real. Can a homeless man know how to take care of himself?
No, he's homeless.
How is that? Not just. I think that depends on the man.
He's homeless. He's homeless.
That's an extreme.
He's homeless. Now,
but
hard times have
man who's never had a job, who's been homeless for 15 years, is not the same as a man who might have been homeless 2 months.
That's correct.
His wife left him.
That's
stole
correct.
All his money.
That's correct. And he's trying to figure life out.
Refusing to ask the people around him.
Correct. And he's trying to get.
That man can take care of himself.
Very true. We've had those. There's many of those situations.
That's what I'm saying. Look, homeless is an extreme. Can a man who knows how to take care of himself be in a bad situation?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. But again, it's the short-sightedness.
Especially in this world, because most men that can take care of themselves, that find themselves in bad situations, you dig into the story a little bit, it's usually a woman behind it. I'm going to keep it real.
I have nothing more to say. That again, I'm not a man. That's not my experience. Who am I to shoot down and say that's not fact? That's not. I'm not a man.
Through a different lens.
Exactly. My lens is very different, and I'm not ever going to argue with you. And that's what, even as women, we need to stop arguing with men about their experiences. Like, who are we to tell them that that's not what they experience? Because we get mad at them. Thank you. We get mad at them when they try to tell us about our experiences. Like, you can't tell me about my lens. Like, even women, some women can't tell me about my experiences. You've never lived my life. You've never lived in this body. You've never lived, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me about the experience of a woman, because and again, the Black experience, not every Black woman's experience is the same. I'm not an American Black woman, so some of these issues that American Black women talk about is foreign to me. Not because I'm Black and a woman means that my experience is the same as yours. So we need to stop it. When a man is telling you about his experience, stop and listen and ask questions. I'm never going to say, well, I'm going to tell my experience. Again, you're also an American. I'm a Jamaican. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things where I'm like, you say things, I'm like, babe, that's fascinating. Like, really, like, tell me more, because even though I'm a Black woman, I've never, some of these things I'm like, babe, you know what I said? I'm like, I've never.
And let's be real, people are unique. We're not special.
Thank you.
People are unique.
Thank you.
A pistol is unique. It has a serial number on it. It's not special. They got 50 more in the back.
Correct. And we need to stop thinking in that terms, like we're the special unicorn.
Like we're so special. We're not special. We're unique. You are you. But that doesn't mean you went through some shit that no one else in history has ever went through. Like, get the fuck out of here.
And this is why, again, having a better understanding of oneself and of the person you want to be seated at their table.
And who are you, and who do you want to be?
Oof. That part, who do you want to be?
Especially for the fellas, who are you and who do you want to be? And are you actually working to be that? Because I make the argument, like, you know how people love to say, like, they don't like certain things, but then they have that thing going on in their life and they're not doing anything to change it. It makes me think you do like it.
You do enjoy it because you're wallowing in it. That's the way I look at it. Like,
you're not moving from it
at all.
You're not moving away from it
at all. You're just sitting in it.
You're just there,
smelling it, tasting it, drinking
you
it.
Say you hate how boo boo smell, but you're
sitting
in
right
the bathroom.
Like you're all in
it.
it.
People come in and out and handle their business, and you just stand there complaining about how bad it smells. I think you like it.
Yeah. I'm a difficult person to tell me you don't. I'm like, okay, so change it. Like, what do you want me to do about it? like I can't help you do it. You're the only one who can make the decision. I can only give you my support and or advice, but that's the reality. So again, the question, we're basically just, we wanted to have this conversation because we're just sick and tired of the regular old, what do you bring to the table? Because it puts the onus on the other person constantly. Women, we do, because again, it is a woman question. It is a female-driven question, because if more men were to ask women what you bring to the table and truly challenge them and did not take the bullshit answer of I am the table. Because if a man were to say to a woman, that's just not enough, damn, that would shut that down. You alone is not enough. What?
IKEA ran out of tables.
Yeah, IKEA. Okay, like if a man were to really say, well, that's not enough, give me more. What else? What else? Remember that game? It's something exactly. We play the then what game, but one of the things that I teach the entrepreneurs that I advise is that when you're dealing with people, you keep digging until they tell you, no, that's it. That's a sales tactic that I learned early in my career. It was one of those things where somebody tells you something, you say, anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? And then they'll say, no, that's it. That's what dating should be like. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Until the person says, no, I think you've got everything.
You have the opportunity to assess whether you feel like you can provide that or not.
It's not.
It's a lot simpler looking at it like that.
Guys, relationship, I know there's all of. Thank you.
They don't.
There's all of these different places, and I'm not saying that we have it all together, because again, diversity of thought and opinion is very important. It's important to us, and it should be important to you. However, it is not that complicated, but it does require a level of intelligence. Relationships are supposed to be an intelligent choice, right? It's something that you assess. You assess it. You take a look at everything and you assess it. Rob does assessments every day on his spreadsheets, right? There's a bunch of information on all around, and he puts them and he computes them, and it gives him something, a determination that can be made based on all of the information he's collected. That's life. Life is a bunch of information that one collects to then assess it to make a determination. That's what we need to be doing in our relationships. We need to be assessing ourselves and the people that we are around and the people that we want to be with, and determining what's next. Because only then can you truly have the successful relationship that you want. So again, if you want to sit at somebody's table, as Rob said, you need to be looking at it not as what's in it for me. It's what you say, what can I do for them?
How can I fit in? How can I fit in? Like, because again, you could keep that attitude of what can he do for you? How can he fit into your life? And the only men willing to satisfy that will be the men that you don't really want.
And again, we keep saying men because the idea of the high value man has become such a thing. And because there are more women in the world than men, again, it's about supply and demand. So we're going to constantly talk about men. There's less of them.
Yeah, definitely. And I got a question about the whole high value man thing, because I think like the late Kevin Samuels, his assessment of a high value man, I think that's from a man's perspective. Can I ask a question for women? Why isn't a high value man a man that treats you good as opposed to a man that makes a lot of money?
Because they equate the two. They think it equals.
Oh,
if a man money treats you well.
Oh, so a man making 50K can't treat you well.
No, because again, treat is financial. Thank you.
He might not be able to take you there every year, but he'll get you there eventually if you stick with him.
But
treat him right.
Delayed gratification.
Oh, what
is that in this world?
I was going to actually post that on social. Like, why is everybody in a rush all the time nowadays?
Because we don't live in a world of delayed gratification.
Yo, bro, Bart, when I went to go grab the letters, bro, barked on the lady because she didn't bolt out soon as the register opened up in the self-check. He was like, just run over there. And I'm just like, why is everybody in a hurry all the time?
Because we've forgotten about delayed gratification. You got to understand, social media has got 21-year-olds wanting to live the same life as 40-year-olds.
Man, I'm interested in the right way, not the fast way.
Well, there's that.
I don't care if it takes me 10 years to get where I'm trying to go. I know
I'll
slow
take
and
that.
steady wins the race.
I'll
But
take
that's
that.
how we grew up. We grew up on the idea that slow and steady wins the race. You put your head down, you get educated, you become informed, you get the information you want, you acquire
that is-
skills,
now you go
you do
viral.
all that. Now you go viral. And so that is the thing. Like
Everybody's
men,
trying to-
again, that's
you
why
can't plan on
every
going
single
viral.
thank you, every single day I get DMs about want to go viral, and they give and I delete these. So if you're these people, stop sending them to me because I delete, I block you. I don't care. We're gonna get where we need to get when we get there because it's gonna be our time. But I'm still putting my head down and doing all the work and doing what we need to get here. And we're going to show up here every week and do all of that. We grew up in a time that you just put your head down and you work towards the goal. Things aren't just going to. And yes, it has happened for a lot of people, but that was the way that it was meant for them. But Kevin Samuels didn't just become Kevin Samuels over that one clip. If you go back, Kevin Samuels had years of videos where nobody was paying attention to him because he was talking about men to men for like 4 or 5 years. And then all of a sudden this one thing goes viral and everybody knows about him. And thank God the world got to learn about him. But it wasn't because somebody went in his DM and told him, pay them a couple of dollars so he could go viral. That's just not the way the world works. So delayed gratification. So we're going to leave the topic there and we're going to go to our question answer bowl. I think we have time for about 3 questions each.
Okay.
You have somewhere to go?
No, I didn't realize it was that time already.
I'm just saying. I'm like, you got places to go.
No. Is a man more likely to cheat if he feels settled? No. That's a dumb question. I'm not going to say that. But
what's the question?
Is a man more likely to cheat if he feels settled?
He settled. He settled.
Settled.
So let me repeat the question. Is a man more likely to cheat if he feels he settled for the woman he's with?
Man, I honestly think again, cheating for when men cheat, that's some shit that ain't got nothing to do with females. That's some shit they got to work out on their own inside themselves.
Oh God, I think you just had a breakthrough moment for women. I hope this goes viral.
Do with none of you. Like that, because you ain't got to do that, bro.
Because we always bring it back to us. We bring a lot of things back to us as women.
But that's some shit he got to work out for himself, man. I always say how I used to put it, even in my youth, is every man got a number in his head. Like and again, I was saying this before there was even a concept of body count and all this shit. But every man got a number in his head, and when he hits that number, then he's ready to settle down. Mm-hmm. Like I'm virile, I'm masculine, I'm the man. For some guys, that number could be 6. For some guys, that shit is 600. But once he hits that 6 or 600, at that point, then he feels like I'm validated. Yeah. You know, I'm like. I'm official in these streets, and now I can settle down. That's just how I have observed it and understood it.
Interesting. Thank you for that answer. That's a good answer. It gives people a lot to think about and talk about. If you've been with someone your partner knows, should you tell? Yes, you should tell.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The sooner the better. So again, in this world, I mean, back in our days, again, there was no social media, and so you'd have to meet someone, and then you meet their friends and so forth. But if for any reason I met a friend of yours and I realized that we had an intimate encounter, I would tell you the moment we're in that car and have left that event, like, babe, just so you know, this is what happened. Here's the deal. Right? Because I don't want, because again, it's awkward. I mean, we've had the conversation about the cheating and making sure you tell, but that's a different situation versus like, holy crap, I realized like 10 years ago, I had an intimate encounter with this person. And so before they tell you, I'm going to tell you, because I truly believe in a relationship. Honesty is the best policy. Like, we have a very open, honest dialogue in our relationship. And I like, what would be the purpose of hiding it? I wouldn't see the purpose.
I think it makes it look shadier if you do try to hide
Facts.
it, or you do try to like.
Because then it's like, when I'm going to go to the person and be like, hey, meet me over here. You know, don't tell Rob that we were together. And, you know, like, what does it matter? We're not together now. Like
I ain't
everybody
even
had a
really
life.
think- I'm just
Exactly.
thinking that there's some unresolved shit there.
Thank
Something
you.
Like that. Like, why is you even worried about that? Like, what do you? I think. But again, I think women have got insecure about confessing certain things because men are so insecure about taking. That's where I think men can't handle the truth is when it comes to about other men and other dicks.
Yeah,
Men can't take the truth then.
that's very true.
And I think that's flawed too. Like I think I think as much to be honest, speaking of the body count, if we really had to push the issue, I think it's probably more relevant that a woman knows a man's than a man knows a woman. Because one, you're not gonna say the truth. Like you're not really gonna tell the honest answer. It's like some type of weird ass algebra on top of it. But it's also a heavily, in my opinion, heavily talk about insecure. That's an insecure question.
I agree. I don't.
And I get that men are worried about your past from the perspective of, I don't want to wipe a hoe, but she's not going to tell you she's a hoe. You got to figure that out.
Facts. There's that part. That is very true. Because everybody's had their hoe days.
Yeah, she's looking for a way out for that. She's trying to get saved, whether she wants to or not.
She don't want to be saved.
Whether she don't help you or not. But
Anyways, on to your next question.
Is there after sex protocols?
So the first time you smash, as you would say, get them buns.
First time?
Yes,
protocols?
after sex. I mean, there's the first time and then overall, but
I think that's the time to establish them if there are going to be any. It's on the first time, but as far as like a required activity for a man, I think there's all types of different responses. There's all types of different reactions. I think that, in my opinion, women tend to like a man that's a bit more still attentive to her after having sex.
I agree. The
Even
rollover,
if it's just for 5 minutes or so. But yeah, the roll up or you get up and put your drawers back on, or
roll over and go to sleep.
Women really feel some kind of way. So outside of that, I don't really know.
No, I think that's the main one. Like you can't just get up and go or just roll over and go to sleep. A woman kind of feels used. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she wants. I mean, you're really good at that. You're very affectionate, loving, and tender. So I have no problems in that. No, thank you.
I'm gonna give the brother some slack. I think it depends on what stage of the relationship y'all in, as far as what stage of life y'all in. Let me put it back. In your 20s, like, look, man, ain't many 25-year-olds that can provide. Let's be real.
Should they be living together in their 20s?
That's a better question. That's a different question. That's a different conversation. Because I would probably say he should have roommates and her ass should be at home still.
Fact. I mean, Uncle Kevin used to talk about that. Like, if you want to live in the big city, get a couple of guys to live with. And the same with the girl.
Or
get a couple of girls to live with, right? And you guys can live very, very well. But I don't, like, for me, and again, our show is directed. So I always answer based on our age group. I'm not talking about the 20-year-olds. I have a 21-year-old.
Our age group, I mean,
no, I'm not.
A 50-50 relationship at this point in life is a roommate, basically.
I'm just not doing that. But I also do the other stuff that you don't want to do, that you don't have any desire to do, that allows you to be able to not be in a roommate situation,
we're
right?
Very traditional gender-specific roles. You handle women's stuff, I handle men's stuff.
Facts.
And neither one of us feels this is not fair.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on that. Thank you so much for, allowing me to work out for basically 3 hours a day. So I can have the better body. Last question.
Is this mine?
Yes, sir.
Is it cheating if both parties know about it? Hold on. Is it cheating if both parties know about it? Meaning.
So if you have a girlfriend on the side, I actually know.
No. How's that cheating?
You're still. Some people would say you're still stepping outside of the relationship.
That's you trying to define somebody else's relationship. Mind your business.
Oh. Dun, 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 dun. There's that. Okay.
Your beliefs can't send me nowhere. And I'm going to repeat, your beliefs can't send me anywhere. You cannot impose your belief system on other people. So while you might be sitting there feeling like their behavior might condemn them to hell, they might be looking back at you with the same perspective.
Correct. Leave that one there. Should you want your partner to need you? I want my partner to need me, because what's the point? Like, I don't want them to just want me.
How far we fallen.
Like, I want them to need me. Like, I know you need me as I need you. Like, there is no doubt, because there's nothing wrong with like a little codependency. Rob has already exclaimed, none of y'all are taking this seat, and that's for a reason. Not just because I'm obsessed with him, because of the dude that he from me. He already told you he doesn't have Siri, he doesn't have a calendar thing, he has me. Babe, remember that, and this is what I do. No argument, it is done. Consider it done, right? So this idea that, oh, I just want him, but I don't need a man. No, a man wants you to need him. Then what is the purpose of him if you don't actually need him? And that particular man, not just men as a whole. I don't just want any man or need any man. I want this man and need this man. For the life that I have, this man right here fulfills that.
Do you want to go back to taking care of yourself?
No.
So what's the problem?
It's not.
I'm not saying you.
I know, but I'm being very clear. I mean? No.
Like, I think a lot of sometimes, but I think it's also very different to really be in that space where that's really how you're living. And I've really worked really hard to try to make sure. Like, again, she's gotten frustrated with me because I don't give her certain information. But as we've had the conversations as it's come appropriate of like, look, I'm not. It might only be $2 in the checking account. I'm not going to let you know that, because then you can't sleep. And that's not good for either one of us. Because I'd rather, because, I'm going to sleep regardless. You're going to sleep regardless. But I'm going to be like,
you
know what I'm saying? But because I know that's only for a day or two or whatever, until I got something about to drop or something. But yeah, man. So, but that's how we move. It's my burden. I don't want that to be your burden. And we had a situation where she was like, I was defending myself. In my opinion, that's not your job anymore. When you're with a provider protector, you don't have to defend yourself. All you can do is mess up something like that.
I was very proud of that too. I shared it with everybody. I said, he said it is not my job. It is his job. And I was just like sharing that all around.
Wait, do you want to go back to defending yourself?
No. Self. You keep saying self. I'm like, I don't want to be by myself. There's nothing wrong with a little codependency. I enjoy it. So yes, I think I want my partner to need me. Like, I want you to need me. And you have been very vocal about
what shit is that to say to somebody that you're...
I want you, but I don't need you.
I don't need you. Like, okay.
Yeah, well, a lot of women
I don't think I would be there long.
No, a lot of women think that that's too much power to give up, because in the age of independence, what I need you. Rest in peace, Uncle Kevin Samuel. So before we go, we want to thank our sponsors, Sorrel and Sage. Make sure you visit them on their Instagram at Sorrel and Sage CA, or on their website at shopsorrelandsage.com. The owner, Joanne, makes all of the products by hand from scratch, the best ingredients you can find. Make sure you check out the Shea butter that is named after me. That's good for both hair and skin. And you can reach out to her if you want to customize a product. She's amazing. Joanne at Sorrel and Sage. Robert?
No, that's it. Thanks for joining. Join us next Thursday. We'll probably have to publicize the time. I'm not sure what exactly we're going to
It's going to be in between the two football games.
In between the games, probably we'll do a little light. I'll probably be a little tipsy and lit. So it'll be fun. But In-Laws versus Outlaws, I'll be a more structured and organized this time, though, because I won't be a last minute decision.
Oh, to drink? You do say? Okay. Well,
yeah, I just felt like it last Thursday.
And he was all over the place. It was a lot.
A little bit. Yeah, it was fun, though.
Anywho, Like I always say before we go, if you bring a little fuck your feelings into your life and into your relationship, it may just make you stay together. So until next time, we will see you next week for, like you said, outlaws versus in-laws on Thanksgiving weekend. Until then,
Enjoy
bye
your
bye.
weekend, folks. Hit that like and subscribe button.
And bye, YouTube. We will see you later. Thank you so much for joining. Adios.